Here we go. Happy Friday. First week of virtual learning about to be in the books. So look, guys, you may have seen or you may have heard that this could possibly be our new normal for a little while. I know nothing. I just kind of do what I'm asked to do, and we just kind of have to roll with it. It's different for everybody. It's different for me. It's different for you. It's different for your parents. It's just a really unique situation. So I'm talking to you. I know it's tough. I know it's different. You got to use that mental toughness that we talk about, because, you know, this could possibly be how it's going to be for a week or so, maybe longer. I don't know. Just mental toughness, work hard, and we just do what we've got to do. Now, look, if this is what our new normal is going to be, I'm about to take this thing to a ridiculous level. I'm about to turn this into, I've got visions in my brain, and you guys kind of know how my brain works, how I operate. I'm going to take this thing up a notch. So it's going to be, you know, next week we'll go over the next 5 days of our packet. We're going to have special guests. We're going to have this. We're going to have that. But if this is what we're doing, I'm going to do it 110%. So I need you guys to kind of do the same with me. Yesterday, I got a couple more volunteers for next week, which is awesome. That makes it easier for me. It makes it different for you guys. It makes it more fun to watch. And the most important thing was I'm getting tons of messages from parents saying, you know, 12 out of 12, 10 out of 12, 11 out of 12. And not only that, the ones that they're missing, they're asking questions. They're figuring out, hey, why would you do this and not that? Anything that you could possibly ask me or tell me or send me, do it. I want to be as involved in this review, even though it's optional, as I can. So don't think, you know, you're bothering me, because guys, if I'm working from home, really, I'm always on the clock. I can always answer a question. I can always shoot out a video. So keep that in mind. I liked getting all those messages. So we are going to go over day 5 of the Pitt County Schools packet. I really liked day 4. I thought day 4 was, it had some easier questions, but I definitely thought it had some challenges on there too. But day 5, I think, is pretty similar. You got to read these questions. Some of them you just got to, you know, those effort questions, you got to do a little bit of work. But same deal. Whatever you get on this, let me know. If you have questions, let me know. But we're going to go ahead and get right into this thing. All right, so if we're, excuse me, if we're looking at number 1, it says Jeff has 1/10 of last week's allowance and 9/100ths of this week's allowance. How much does he have altogether? So a couple things on this one. One, you got to know your keyword, which altogether is telling you that you have to add. But then you got to look at your denominators, because you're dealing with 1/10 and 9/100ths. Don't like that. We know we're going to add, but we cannot add because they do not look the same. Different denominators, so I've got to fix that. I cannot turn my tenths, or I'm sorry, I cannot turn my hundredths into tenths, because I could take a 0 from right here, but there's no 0 for my numerator that I can take. So this has to stay hundredths, meaning my tenths have to turn to hundredths. And I would do that by adding a 0 at the bottom and the top. Those are 2 like denominators, which makes that easier to add, because I know my denominator will stay the same. And then if you do 10 plus 9, you would get 19, which would give you a 19/100ths. The answer I really wouldn't want to see would be letter C, because that would show me you just did, or no, I'm sorry, would be B, 10 hundredths, because that would show me you just did 1 plus 9, and you did the addition without making them look the same. So hopefully we've done those enough to where that's not going to be an issue. So I feel pretty good about number 1, as long as you make your denominators look the same. And guys, we've said it before, there are ways to add fractions with different denominators. There's just something you got to apply to it, but we're not getting into that quite yet. All right, moving on to Nominal Dose. Number 2 says, Stephanie has to read a book for school. Stephanie read 5/10 of the book on Sunday and 3/10 of the book on Tuesday. What total fraction of the book has Stephanie read? Again, keywords, pretty important. They don't always tell you what to do, but a lot of the time they steer you in the right direction. So I've got 5/10. Can I get a black? There we go. Plus total 3/10, and you would get 8/10. Yes, that is an answer choice. The answer choice is B, so you would have the answer. But if I were making answer choices for this question, I would not have made 8/10 an answer choice. I would not have put that on there. I would have seen if anybody panicked or if they went through their mental checklist and got a different answer. So what I want you to do right now is, and you might want to pause the video, but take 8/10, do something to it, and then see if you get what I get. I'm going to give you like 5 seconds to pause it, and then I'm going to do what I would do. So I would have taken 8/10, made you simplify it to give you 4/5 as an answer choice. That's a little bit more of a challenge, but if you got 8/10 as an answer choice, choose it. And that's a good example right there of when I tell you in class, we practice hard, so the game is easy. The stuff we do in class is so much more challenging than what you're going to see at the end of the year. I mean, that right there kind of proves it. All right, moving on to 3. Nope. I don't know if you can see that or not, so I got to do this. All right, number 3, Sam completed 2/5 of Wednesday's homework and 4/5 of Monday's homework. What fraction of the homework did Sam finish? All right, so pull the whiteboard back up here. Miss G has texted me like 20 times. All right, Sam has completed 2/5 on Wednesday, 4/5 on Monday. Guys, use some logic here because there's not necessarily a keyword. 2/5 here, 4/5 here. If I want to know how much in all, add them together. And that's going to give me a denominator of 5 because it's staying the same. Add your numerators. That's going to give you 6/5. Looking at the answer choices. Thank goodness it does not give you 6/5. It might on the EOG, but it does not. You're not going to panic. You are going to go through your mental checklist. First question we always ask, is that improper? Yes, it is. I've got to convert it to a mixed number. So we've done that a few times in the previous couple of days in the packet. So you know fraction bar means divided by. So really I'm looking at this like 6 divided by 5. How many whole times can 5 go into 6? It goes in 1 whole time because 5 times 1 is 5. I need to get to 6. What's my remainder? It would be 1, which becomes my numerator. Denominator does not change, and that would leave me with C, 1 and 1/5. All right, moving on to number 4. Nope. All right, it says Winslow drank 7/8 of a cup of juice at breakfast and 4/8 of a cup of juice at dinner. How many cups of juice did Winslow drink today? So really, if you got number 3 correct, You should most likely be getting number 4 correct. Same type of question. You've got 7/8 here, 4/8 here. We're going to add them up. Denominator stays the same. And if I go 7 plus 4, my numerator would be 11. 11/8 is not an answer choice. Oh, it is an answer choice. 11/8 would be your answer. So what I'm going to have you do, D would be the answer for number 4. Same deal as earlier. Pause your video, take 11/8, convert it to a mixed number, see what you get. I'll give you a few seconds to pause and do that. So if you didn't see 11/8 as an answer choice, you would convert it, change it to a mixed number. 11 divided by 8, 8 goes into 11 one whole time. 8 times that 1 gets me to 8. I need to get to 11. Remainder is 3, which becomes my numerator, and that denominator would be 8. So if you didn't see 11/8, 1 and 3/8 would be your answer choice. Hang on one second. I've got to set, this is unprofessional. I'm sorry. All right, moving on to number 5. Morgan had planned to run 2 7/10 miles on Monday and 8 5/10 on Tuesday. How much farther, words we saw yesterday, does she run on Tuesday than Monday? So again, it gives them to us in an order that doesn't necessarily have to be used. You know, you got to take a smaller number from a bigger number, or mixed number in this case. So if I'm looking at what number am I on? 5. I've got 8 5/10 minus 2 7/10. Again, how much farther? It tells me to do that subtraction. So we would normally start with the whole numbers, but first, you know, when we subtract mixed numbers, we got to go through some steps. You cannot take a fraction unless you have a fraction, which we do. Only problem is that fraction is too small, so we're unable to subtract that, so we got to make it bigger. Same thing we did yesterday. It's not the only way to do it, but we could take 1 whole away from 8, change that to a 7. Now, that whole that I'm holding, I'm going to put back as a fraction. I'm holding 10/10 because it's equal to 1, and my denominator's 10. But I'm not going to put 10/10 because I already had 5/10. I've got to add those together to get 15/10. Then I can subtract. Because if I do my whole numbers, 7 minus 2, I get 5. Denominator's still going to be 10. And then if I did 15 minus 7, I would have 5 8/10. Looking at your answer choices, it's not there. What I'm hoping people didn't do is, well, I see 5 8/10, B looks close, let me choose it. Because B is the only one that has 5 as a whole number. I'd be willing to bet on the EOG, you'd probably have 2 or 3 answer choices that are going to show 5 as a whole number. So you wouldn't necessarily be able to pick the one that's close. What you should have done is gone through your checklist and seen 8/10 and known you could have simplified it. The 5 is going to stay, so you can go ahead and rewrite that 5. But then you should list your factors for 8. 1, 2, 4, 8. And then 10, 1, 2, 5, and 10. List your GCF, greatest common factor, which is 2. And then you would divide numerator and denominator by 2, which would give you 5 4/5, which would give you the answer choice of B. So more steps in that one. I like that question. That's a don't panic question. You know everything you need to do. Run through that checklist. You'll be good. All right, number 6. Ricardo swims 5 2/8 miles in the morning and 4 6/8 miles in the afternoon. How many total miles did Ricardo swim? Again, if we're doing total, we know we're finding, or we're going to be using addition. Got 5 2/8 plus 4 6/8. With adding, we can just go ahead and get rocking and rolling. 5 plus 4 gives me 9. 2 8s plus 6 8s gives me 8 8s. If you look at your answer choice, you do not see 9 and 8 8s. Don't choose A because it looks close. Told you in the past, this will never be an answer choice 99% of the time because 8 8s is equal to 1. So if you replace that with a 1 and you add 9 plus 1, you would get 10, which would be B. I mean, that's almost identical to what you had yesterday. So, I mean, technically 9 and 8 8s is correct, but if it's not an answer choice, you got to know kind of what direction to go with that one. All right, halfway done. If your brain is already melted, stand up, do some jumping jacks, do some push-ups, do something. Get yourself fired up here. I'm going to take a sip of this coffee, probably burn my face off. Not bad. All right. Second half, let's go. All right, number 7. On Monday, Dan spent 2 4/5 hours doing homework. Goodness gracious. On Tuesday, he spent another 3 2/5 hours doing homework. How much longer did he study on Tuesday than Monday? How much longer? How much farther? How much more? You're going to subtract. Not in the order that he gives it to you, just the bigger number minus the smaller number. So you've got 3 2/5 minus 2 4/5. You cannot take a fraction unless you have a fraction, which I do, but I must make that fraction bigger. I will take a whole away from 3. That is going to change to a 2. The fraction that the whole that I am holding as a fraction is good 5/5, but I'm not going to put 5/5 because I already had 2/5. I'm going to add those together and get 7/5. Then I can subtract. I can do 2 minus 2 and put 0, or I can just have no whole number. Then I can do 7/5 minus 4/5. That's going to leave me with 3/5, which would give you an answer choice of A. I think I said this maybe in yesterday's video. The only place I could see somebody making a mistake is right here. Instead of putting 2 7/5, maybe putting 2 5/5 and forgetting about that 2/5 that they have up here. Remember, the whole point of taking that whole was to make that fraction bigger. So don't forget about that 2/5. Number 8, Haley used 4/10 of a bottle of glue for an art project. Which decimal represents how much of the glue was used? Man, this right here is fan 5. Because yesterday it talked about the bag of glitter and it gave you a fraction and it said, this is what we used, what's left. If you tried to do the same thing today, you missed it. You have to read. Today it told you what you used and it wanted to know what you used. And the answer choices are good today. Yes. So if you're looking at number 8, I would have drawn a picture. I got way too excited about that. Here's my bottle of glue. Boom. I'm going to split it into tenths as best I can. And I'm going to use 4/10. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you've got that on your paper, you're awesome. I also would hopefully see used on your paper because I don't care what's left. So if you're telling me C and D, I mean, yeah, that's good math, but you didn't answer the question that I wanted to ask, or that I wanted you to answer. So if I needed to show 4/10 as a decimal, if it's in tenths, there's only one number after the decimal. That would be B, 0 and 4/10. If you're choosing A, you read it correctly, but you didn't do the right math. You gave me 4/100. Now, if you're choosing C and D, you didn't read the question. So I'd rather you make a math mistake. I'd rather you choose A than choose C and D because I can fix math mistakes. I can't make you read a question. So remember, one number after the decimal is tenths, 2 is hundredths. Think about a number 10. It has 1 0. 100 has 2. So keep that in mind. I'm thinking after yesterday, that one was probably pretty good. But I do like that they changed it up and gave you different answer choices. That's a good sign. All right, number 9. Which of these has the greatest value? I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite them right here. Can I get like a better? I don't like that it looks like that. Oh, hold up. Yeah, that's good. All right, I got 5 and 400ths, 5 and 600ths, 2 and 900ths, 5 and 40/100ths. Again, greatest value means I need the biggest number. We always start by looking at the left side of the decimal because that's where we've got our whole number. Think about money. You got $5.04, $5.06, $2.09, $5.40. One of those doesn't fit. You could go ahead and scratch the $2.09 because I think everybody would rather have 5 whole dollars. But then it comes down to your change. Would you rather have 4 cents, 6 cents, or 40 cents? If we're looking for the greatest value, you would rather have 5 and 40/100ths. Now, grab a pencil. Pause the video if you have to. I want you to write that 3 different ways. You could have wrote it as a different decimal, 5 and 4/10. And then you could have written both of those as mixed numbers, 5 and 40/100ths, 5 and 4/10. Little review there. But for that, the initial question, number 9, we probably crushed that one. Moving on to number 10. Maybe. All right, number 10. The school gym will hold 382 people. The gym was full for 5 performances of the school play. How many people were in attendance for all the plays? I think we had one just like this. I don't think it was yesterday, but we had one just like this recently. So all the numbers are getting bigger, except for, I guess technically A is getting bigger if you added 382 plus 5, but logically that just doesn't make sense. But that picture, the picture that I'm going to draw is what I see in my brain. I've got more than one performance. So I'd have performance 1, performance 2, performance 3, performance 4, and performance 5. And I know there's 382 people in each one. So you could look at that and say, let me add all of those together. Logically, to me, it would make more sense instead of repeated addition to multiply. So we will do that. 5 times 2 is 10. 0 stays, 1 goes. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 1 is 41. 1 stays, 4 goes. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 4 more, give me 19. That looks like a decimal. That would be 1,910, which would give me the answer choice of B. You could add those together and get the same exact answer if you wanted to. But with bigger numbers like that, it's probably a little bit easier for you to do that multiplication and knock it out in one step. Normally with a question like that, they'd give you an answer choice where you could divide it, but 382 isn't even divisible by 5, so you wouldn't have an answer choice there. So that one probably did all right on that, and hopefully we don't have anybody choosing A for that particular question. And look, I should have said this on day 1. If you're missing these questions, it's not a big deal as long as you know how you're missing them. If you're missing them and I'm going over it and you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's when you maybe need to send me a message to say, hey, can you explain this differently? I should have said that way earlier. All right, number 11, love these questions. Sergio has 5 stickers. His older brother has 3 times the number of stickers as Sergio has. How many stickers does his older brother have? So when I saw times as many or times the number, I thought box method. I'm comparing 2 things. In this case, it's 2 people. I'm comparing Sergio and an older brother. And then I'm just going to use the information. Older brother has 3 times the number of stickers, means older brother gets 3 boxes. Sergio automatically gets 1, and now I'm just plugging in numbers. If it says Sergio has 5 stickers, then Sergio's box has 5, and the rest of the boxes have 5. Folks at home, what did Mr. Huber forget? Because if you forgot this, I'd be mad at you. Didn't put my star. I should have put my star before I did the boxes. Star goes with whatever the question's asking. How many stickers does his older brother have? Older brother, you get the star. Sergio, I'm sure you're great. We don't care about you for this question. Dan, all I got to do is look at my picture. I can go 5 plus 5 plus 5. I could go 5 times 3, but this one would be equal to 15, which is B. Again, numbers a little smaller than I would like, but follow the process. It doesn't matter what the numbers are. If you do the right steps, you're going to get that question right. All right, last but not least, we got number 12. It says there are 128 fourth graders going on a field trip. Each bus has enough seats for 25 people. What is the fewest number of buses needed to carry everyone going on the field trip? Now, this is a good question because you know exactly what to do, but you've never necessarily dealt with a number like this when dividing. And the good thing is you're not going to divide by 2-digit numbers on the EOG because you know you're dividing because you see that word each. It can tell you multiply or divide, but all the numbers are getting smaller. 128 divided by 25. Now, I'll show you both ways. You could do the division, even though we've never done it before. You know 25 can't go into 1. You know it can't go into 2. So you're going to have to look at the whole number, 128. Now, I know in second grade you learned about money, you learned about quarters. So even though it's a bigger number, we should be able to count by 25. So we can go 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, and we can't go beyond that. So we could do that division if we wanted to and say it goes in 5 times and multiply it because, again, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, or no, I'm sorry, 25, 50, 75, 100, 125. And we could get rid of 125, and that would be 5 remainder 3. And then remember, you can't just go and say, hey, we need 5 remainder 3 buses. They would look at you like you're crazy. There's 3 possible numbers you could tell them. You're either going to say, hey, we need 5 buses. What in the world? Dude, I'm struggling. I was doing so good. We either need 5 buses if we ignore the remainder, 3 buses if we use the remainder, or 6 buses if we push up. Now, looking at your answer choices, that means I don't have to waste my time with 7 or 8. I don't have to waste my time with 3 because it's not an answer choice. So I'm either going to have 5 buses with 25 people in each or 6 buses with 25 people in each. Well, we just did the math on 5 times 25. That was 125. Guys, if we need to get 128 fourth graders on that field trip, 5 buses is not going to be enough. If we had 5 full buses, that means 3 people wouldn't get to go. We're not going to leave 3 people behind. So we would push up, we would get that extra bus, which would be 6. And even though that gives us room for 150 people, you'd rather have extra room than not enough. So if you checked your answer with multiplication, that one would give you B, 6 buses. If you lined it up to do that division and you instantly said, I'm not comfortable doing that, guys, you could multiply. You could multiply on every multiplicative comparison problem. You could say, well, let me try 25 buses. Let me try 26 buses. Oops. Let me try 27 buses. So you could have just multiplied and said, well, I know 25 is not going to be enough. Then you could have done 26 and said, 26 is enough. It gives me more room than I need, but I'd rather have that than not enough. And really, you could have stopped there and not done 27 and 28 because the key word there is fewest number. Technically, 27 buses would be enough. 28 buses would be enough. But you'd be wasting money because you still could have got everybody there with 26 buses. At this point, you're getting way more than you need. So keyword there would have been fewest for number 12. So that answer would have been 6 buses. And again, multiplicative comparisons, we've been smacking those for a long, long time. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for the first week. First week of that packet is done. I'm excited for week 2 of this packet. The questions, I like the questions. Heavy on the fractions, which is good because the EOG is heavy on the fractions. But like I said, I'm gonna try to make this as enjoyable as I possibly can for you while at the same time making it beneficial. Because all year long, and we talked about it a bunch, we've been busting our tails getting ready for this EOG. And to me, nothing's changing. I'll make my own EOG if I have to. We got the same goal in mind. You guys know we want to work hard every single day, do the absolute best. So by the time you get to next year, you will crush it. You will dominate. So we're going to have a little talk show vibe to the next week. We got some special guests. Hey, if your parents want to run a business or work somewhere, have a company they want to sponsor a question, tell them to send me an email. I'm doing free advertisements next week on virtual math. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, because look, you don't have to be doing this. There's kids at home playing that Xbox, eating those potato chips, which is fine, but they're not doing any work. If you're sitting at your computer right now checking your work, you should feel really good about that, because by the time we get back to whatever normal we have, you're going to be ready to hit the ground running. So as a teacher, I truly appreciate that. Miss you guys. See you. I won't see you tomorrow. I'll see you. What's today, Friday? I'll see you Monday. Have a good night or a good day, whatever time you're watching this. Just whatever.